Yeah, you can. It doesn't matter,
Nope.
dude. The concepts, you know what, dude? I'll just put this out there. All these barriers and stuff. It's not like you're being nasty. You're just being, for goodness sakes. Whatever. If that's I don't see it as anything wrong, and he expects it.
Nope. Don't even have my glasses on yet. How can I podcast if I don't have my glasses on?
Rory, my friend, I've been thinking about you all week.
I've been thinking about you as well, and Doc, and Eloy.
You know, it's funny because I've been thinking about you guys too. A lot.
Episode 303, Reheated Dirt.
I thought we were just going to call every episode the premiere from now on.
Oh, no, it is. It's the premiere episode.
Thank you guys for having me on the premiere. I appreciate it.
Woo! Apparently, we don't know how numerical systems work, and we can record the premiere episode twice in a row.
Exactly.
Rory did like a month of premieres there, actually. Though you were back-to-back premieres, and I guess somehow subconsciously we got into thinking that we'd call our show the premiere, and now every show, I think we're going with that.
Dude, you know how close I was to going right to season 4? I was thinking that I would just rip through a few seasons for no reason, just season 4, season 5, season 6, and get let's get like Doctor Who numbers. Let's get the count up a little bit. Let's make it seem like we've been around a while.
Good idea.
That's why people look us up and be like, well, there's 25 seasons of it.
So what's been going on with you guys this week? What's the lowdown?
Same shit, dude. Same old stuff. This episode will be airing on New Year's Eve, so Happy New Year's.
Well, right. Happy New Year's. I didn't realize that this was New Year's, but now I see. We're recording you. Okay.
Just throw it out there.
So tell me what you guys do for New Year's.
Go ahead, Eloy. What do you do for New Year?
Well, Miami's a little bit different than the rest of the
here we go. 12 days of New Year's.
If I'm not gonna be able, I have to set it up. Okay, look, I'm just gonna be truthful, and that's it. On the first day of New Year's, see, Miami's different than the rest of the country. What we do is prior to it striking 12, and I guess that big, we don't have a big ball that drops, into the. We don't do that. Instead, we have a carnival through the streets, and we have little tiki torches, and they play salsa and merengue music. A lot of the women wear those skirts with the little pom-poms, and we do a carnival down the streets. You can look at it online. I don't know why you guys are so surprised, and that's how we bust open, that new year. Coconut,
Cuban Mardi Gras.
Can I ask a question?
I'm lying through my teeth, but go ahead.
Okay. Damn it. I was going to say, is it one of those parties where it just repeats the same musical phrase over and over again?
It's always that.
And then there's like the one guy in the front of the band that says something in gibberish Spanish. And then there's 7 guys behind him.
That's exactly. Hey, Doc, by the way, switch on your good mic.
Oh, yeah. Good looking out, eh?
Yeah, but it'd be nice if it were that way. But it's not. People pop some fireworks and get drunk and are noisy. They shoot off guns and fireworks, and it's just a typical thing.
Real guns?
Yeah.
How about now?
Say it one more time.
Hold on.
Talk?
Hello?
No, it sounds still echoey. Or not echo, room.
Nice job, Doc.
I think you have to switch it in the inside the what you call this? The setting.
The computer box?
You have to go to the computer, doohickey, and pull down the levers.
Nope. No?
Dude, we're having technical difficulties. What?
Yeah.
Happens every premiere.
No, we're good. That's right, isn't it?
I'm hearing it through the room.
Well,
Yeah.
Is it the
I'm hearing
wrong
it through.
setting?
I think so. No. Doc.
You're doing this.
Hey, sounds good, right? Right?
Is that any better?
Say it again.
I said, is that any better?
Yeah, it is. Well, you usually have a deeper microphone voice.
How about now?
Nope, that's not your microphone. I don't feel comfortable unless you're saying it right into my ear
I'm
holes.
gonna pop out.
Wow.
Ooh,
Ooh.
wow.
Oh.
Ooh. Mhm.
Feels like first date.
So yeah, dude. So how's this year been for you guys? Honestly, well, we should wait for. Well, he'll catch up. How has this year been for you guys? Looking back on 2018, either one of you guys.
It's been rough.
I agree.
All right, any better?
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, you
not
sound.
better. Yeah.
Speak
That's the
to
doc
me.
now.
All right.
We're gonna slow things down a little bit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, everyone, take your partner to the dance floor. We're going to slow things down a little bit. Something off their second album, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eloy and the Bangers.
Dude, that microphone really sounds freaking good. I was asking Rory and Bales how their year recapped, and Bales said crappy, or he used another word, I
It's
forget.
been rough. It's been a very rough year.
It's been a rough year for him. How about you, Rory?
Mine, I went through a patch of about 4 years of crap, and this year things finally turned around. I was going down to a bad place for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a rough one for me too. Like it could be worse. You know, I see the balance of we're alive and kicking, so that's always good. But it's not been, it's been rough as well. I have to agree with you guys.
No, Rory just said it was diamonds, man.
It was easy going over here this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. My rough year was so bad that it overtook your good. Your good. I just drew you into the dark side. So I'm with Bales for this year, except I see the good balance of, we're still kicking. So I guess, I hope Bales feels the same way though. Like there's always hope around the bend, right?
No.
Okay. And Doc, your year?
I had a year. Yeah.
So
It's kind of how I feel about it.
yeah.
Anytime you get through one, you got through one. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And new job, landed on my feet. Everything looking good on the up and up. Boys are healthy. No complaints.
Just a couple more scars.
Yeah, a couple more. That's what you got to do. It's just to keep collecting them.
No, I meant your kids.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
They started their collection of scars.
right.
That's what your life is, a collection of scars. Everyone's killing themselves slowly, Bales. That's just all
true.
it is. Everyone's killing themselves. It's just at what speed.
I think that's true, dude.
Yeah,
That's-
well, absolutely true. Everything you do is contributing to your death one way or the other, even if it's by stepping off the curb and getting hit by a bus. Everything up to that, it's just that's the next step.
And we're falling apart. Well, I can't speak for you guys, but I've got like almost a month old, just sort of my whole arm. There's certain positions I can't move it in. It's just painful to do so. I pulled it working with the house, and like usually I'd heal up real quick, and now I'm like,
So, how's it been feeling since you started taking the fish oil every day?
beer.
No, see,
He just bought a fish and he licks it every day.
he's eating goldfish crackers.
Yeah.
I bought a big box of the cheddar ones, Doc, and I bought some of the sour cream and chive ones. He's like, my shoulder still hurts like hell.
It says Alestra and it makes my butt drip.
Remember that stuff, man? That's no good
Yeah.
for you. Well, Olean, the potato
Oh.
chips that were good for you.
Alestra. Smooth.
Oh,
Rory's over there just sucking on fumes while he's blacksmithing things.
Hey man, it's the way to do it.
Blacksmithing.
Everyone's using blacksmithing as a verb now.
I know.
Bales
kind of
is trying.
irritating.
I'm just trying. I just tried to.
Bales has been poking you.
Oh, I gotta go carpenter some stuff today.
Right?
Oh man. So, what are you doing here tonight, Rory? Craig's not whipping you in the shop.
He is not. He is away in Mexico, and my father, being the cheap guy, always looking for a deal, we'll say. Him and my mother, they like to scuba dive. So he got a good deal to go to Cozumel, and I guess this is the rainy season, and they have been closing the ports every day that they've been there, so they haven't been able to dive, and my mom got a head cold. So, yeah, they've been hanging out in paradise and not really having the greatest time.
No,
Damn.
wow.
So what do they do?
I guess he said they rented a car and they went to the market a few times, saw a movie, lots of walks.
Buy a drug rug? Maybe maybe they can find that elusive old woman that's in the desert selling her wares.
Coyote. Ask him if you email him. I'm a size like 36-30 mariachi pants. I will totally PayPal him the money.
That's on
Bales,
the shady side of town. Shady side.
Have you ever been to Mexico? I know that Doc said he did. Have you been to Mexico before?
I've never been out of the continental U.S.
Have you been to Florida?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
The Northern America penis.
Yeah.
Dale.
Well,
Orlando, Miami. I've been all the way down to the Keys, baby.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
Well, I think I've mentioned this before, but when I went to Mexico, I was living in California, and I went to Mexico. And I don't know, Rory, have you been to Mexico?
Been to Cozumel.
It's really different out west as opposed to because it's such a big country. But when you go through the border, the checkpoint thing, from there back, there's people or there was when I went along the highway, just full of people standing there selling their arts and crafts, and it's like an explosion of freaking color, dude. You have Virgin Mary statuettes decorated with all sorts of. It looks like I don't know, man. Like you took a bunch of clowns and threw them in a blender and mixed them up. It's just an explosion of color. When I went there, we went all the way down to, I think it was, I can't remember the name of the thing, but it was a little town. And what a difference, dude. Once you cross the border and you go over there, it's like a lot of, it's weird. It feels like no one's looking over, like there's not as much order there.
It feels outlaw.
It feels outlaw. Yeah.
Did you see any cattle while you were there by chance?
No, there were mountains.
Okay, so when we were there, I told you we went to Chichen Itza, so we took a long bus ride to get to the ruin, and we went through like some like podunk sort of Mexicali towns there, right? And these cattle were like skeletons of cows, more or less, just chilling outside. They were like the dustiest looking cattle I'd ever seen in my life.
Damn.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, really? They don't produce milk because it's too dry. Like, this is what these tour people are telling us about these cattle.
So what are they doing there?
I was like, what's their story then? And they had no answer.
They make powdered milk.
Yeah, evaporated milk.
Yeah.
It comes out of the teat as dust.
Yeah. Yeah, like a chalk line.
Damn, dude.
My eye.
Stay upwind.
No, I do remember that though, like some real suspect looking cattle.
Yeah, it was a very interesting thing. But Bales is going. I don't know if you know this, Rory. You probably do, but he's gonna go on an adventure.
He's going to Egypt.
Big. Yeah, we're afraid for him.
What inspired the great journey?
I've been following this geologist for a while, Dr. Robert Schoch, and then he ends up on a Joe Rogan podcast.
A shocker.
Yeah. Then he ends up on the Joe Rogan podcast. Then on that podcast, he talked about how he was taking some trips to Egypt. So I checked out the website, and I saw that it was a 2-week totally guided educational tour, hotels included, meals included, all these visits to the ancient sites, special access inside the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid, stuff that normal tourists don't get to do. And I was just like, oh, screw it.
Wow.
It's like, I'm getting older. I don't have kids yet. And if that's going to happen, it happens soon. So I better get my ducks in a row real quick and
Right on.
maybe die in Egypt beforehand.
Yeah, Blaze of Glory. If you're gonna do it, what happened to Bales? Camel stampede. What?
Oh man, I hope it's not a camel. At least let me get eaten by like a Nile crocodile or something.
All right, he got stampeded, but then the guys threw him triumphantly into the mouth of a crocodile and took some pictures to throw on Insta. Here it is. Hashtag Miss Bales.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, we'll get some sweet RIP gear. I'm gonna get your face airbrushed on like a knee-length white T-shirt, like when Biggie died, and I'll wear that around. That's what I'll do. Tribute album too. Memorial album.
If he goes, I'm just saying. Look, we have, I'm just saying it's a very different place.
Rory, I already tried to write Eloy into my will for either my domino or my saw stop, and the guy says, "What else do you got?"
Well,
wow.
Yeah.
we gotta see the whole package. Make sure if we're gonna do this.
I guess you're getting a rigid miter saw. Jesus Christ! I tried to give you the good stuff.
Well, no, I mean you should just leave the keys under the mat so we can go in there and
just take what you want.
Well, yeah, that's how.
Yeah, open it up like King Tut's tomb, and you're like, oh.
That's how decent people do it, dude.
I got you.
Actually, I got thinking about that, and if that would be the case, I'd want to take the costume. At least I'd want one of the good ones.
The leather gimp.
No, I think I'd want Oscar or Animal. I think Animal would probably
That's a
be
good
the
call,
one.
because last week you said you'd maybe take some of the jigs.
I still want the jigs, the Bales jigs. Because every time you bust one out, I'm like, yep, I bet that's perfect. Look at it. Look how perfect. I bet he measured it 9,000 times. Look at it.
I'll take the drums then. All your snares and your drum set, and the rights to whatever music you have. I'll take that.
I have a feeling it's going to be like a Step Brothers moment once Eloy gets him set up at the house where he's teabagging your drum set.
Ooh.
But yeah, just the adventure is going to be a great one. But just the idea of it's because Bales, his customs are New England now, although they were north. But he has no idea. He has no idea how to conduct himself in foreign areas where they'll chop your hand off. Is it the left or right? The right hand. If you do, I guess that too. But so you got to be careful. He was telling us about you can't take pictures. Just awful stuff, dude. And you can see all that on the internet. You should go somewhere like, I don't know, like Paris or England or Germany. You
should definitely go to Paris right now. I heard it's lovely right now.
You
should really turn on the TV.
Yeah, just no place where you could be hijacked and taken into some sort of I don't know.
Maybe I'll just go to the Everglades.
That's too dangerous for you. I don't think that we should do that.
Couldn't handle the sweet water.
Maybe Coconut Grove or Miami Beach. You could do that.
Coconut Grove.
Sounds fancy.
Is that like a retirement community?
Dude, that place is party central, dude. Party central.
All right, so we have one question for Rory that is from the old set of questioning, but I think it came after him. Rory, you never got asked what your stripper song was. That came along after your episode.
Yeah, I got the zombie question.
Yeah, you got the zombie song, but when you take the main stage at Dangle's After Hours,
did I get asked that?
I don't recall your answer.
Oh, I'll roll with it anyways. Whatever comes to mind is "She's My Cherry Pie."
All right.
A classic. I remember one time, probably it was right after I had met my wife. I went down for a weekend with my buddies. Ended up at a smoke show there. Not my favorite spot, but there we were, and my wife called me, and that was the song that was on. And no one answers the phone in the titty bar except for me. I answered the phone. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? Where am I? It's awful in here. Because I really don't like it. It's just it's dark, it's loud, it's dirty. It's just not my scene."
Right.
We have the internet if you want to look at boobs, frankly, but. I answered the phone and she always laughed about that. She's like, it couldn't have been more stereotypical. It was like from a movie, like literally She's My Cherry Pie is playing in the background and I could see some cheesy stripper like rubbing up on you. I was like, yeah, it wasn't cool at all.
Did I tell you guys about the Hell's Angel that worked for us for about a year?
No.
So I'm 20. Amanda and I were together for a couple of years, so I'm 25-ish or so. And we get this guy, knows his stuff, blunt as I like it, and works hard, what have you, and find out that he's part of a bike gang, as he was calling it. So as you're working with him and get to know him, and find out
he actually said bike gang and not motorcycle club.
He said bike gang.
Okay, carry on.
So we're working together to find out he had been I don't want to say it's like an internship, but the way of getting into the gang is you kind of just
prospect.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so he got into it. He's pretty pumped. And I'm like, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you questions about this. And he's like, well, yeah, if you don't mind, I might not answer them. I was like, no, that's fine. So through the conversation, found out, because this is my first impression of like the club, of really how big it is and the history of it and the history associated with it as well. But he goes, yeah, we're going to be having a burlesque show and chili chowder event evening. If you want to come over and buy
chowder,
some
chowder or normal chowder?
Bean chili chowder, we'll say.
Okay.
Western chowder. Not a lot of clams out here.
Okay.
A couple oysters. So we go to like downtown Golden, and we drive by it in front, and there's like these humongous men in front. I'm like, oh crap, Amanda. Like, all right, here we go. Just park the truck, walk up there, and I have my ticket that I got from the guy. So I have my ticket, and I'm going up to the guys, and they're looking at me like, what the hell are you doing here? I have my ticket. As I walk by them, we go inside, and there's an older gentleman, happy as hell, takes my ticket. And now I have my stub, and I have Amanda next to me, and it was like a bad movie scene. Like the music dies down, and everyone in this long bar just kind of stopped and looked at me. And all I'm thinking is like, where's that guy I work with? So as I'm walking, everybody that's looking at me, I have my ticket in between me and them. Like I'm like paying my dues. Like I paid to be here. So we go down the long bar. To the left is the diner hall there. Find my friend. Thank God. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I sit my ass down. And they had like an open kind of bar situation for the food and drinks. Get some food, sit down, and then the show starts. And the first girl that comes out, she's got the burlesque tassels and she's doing her thing. And I'm like watching it and I'm thinking, man, that light, there is a light in the wrong spot because there's like a big shadow underneath her stomach.
No way.
And then she turned to the side. She must have been 7 months pregnant. Like, oh my God. So she does her thing. She gets off the stage. This next girl comes out. And this is a big girl. She's a little large. She's doing her job. She's working it. She comes out. As the evening went on, each woman, I will say, got a little larger, a little more voluptuous until the grand finale. And it was like if they're like a big Jessica Rabbit. Wah, 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 wah.
What a nightmare, dude.
I was like getting just inside, just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then also getting out of the event as well, because I was like, I'm done, Amanda. Are you done? And she's like, yeah, let's get the hell out of here. And kind of scurried her way out. But yeah, what a night.
Oh my goodness, dude. So that's like how they party?
That was one event, I guess. That's the only one I went to.
How was the chili?
Actually, the food was really good.
Let's talk about this Western chowder for a second.
You guys like chili chowder?
Chili chowder?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's like chili, right?
Yeah, it's like chili.
You just
That's
add
kinda
the word chowder to it, yeah?
Oh,
More
okay.
onions, a little bit more vegetables, maybe some tomatoes.
Like a minestrone soup.
Not
Oh,
a
geez.
soup. No, too runny. No.
No, he's talking about a thick pot of there might be fingers in there, possibly.
I like how every once in a while we just bust out into soup talk. It's just like dirt, poop, everything gross in the world, and soup.
Well, I thought we were on to something new. And I wasn't totally turned off by this burlesque. I was rather intrigued.
Yeah,
I was
it
shocked.
sounds like a party.
Well, they were large women. It was not what I had envisioned.
And this was Hell's Angels?
Yeah.
Dude, that sounds like I hate to think of what their like ritual for joining would be, because boy,
When you said there was a shadow under the belly,
I
thought
got
it was-
scared.
I thought it was going into cross-dressing territory.
Yeah, that would have been bad. Some wieners with my chowder.
Yeah, that would not have been good.
I was dating this girl back in '97,
Oh, I like where this is going.
Yep.
and she
I
was
knew
like, "She was like, we're gonna go to Jacques tonight." I'm like, "What the hell is Jacques?" It's like, "You're gonna love it." Okay, I really didn't want to go, but she was hot, smoking hot. So go to this place, Jacques, in Boston. Weird looking, tiny little club by the theater district. Go down a set of stairs. There's a stage where people are performing. And, they come out and they sing their little numbers. Turns out it is a cross-dressing bar. So all the performers are in drag. And they're actually nailing it.
Yeah, crushing it.
They're crushing it. So the girl's like, "You like this, right?" I'm like, "Okay. I mean, you're pretty hot." So she buys a couple drinks. Everything's cool until I start feeling this little rubbing on my leg.
Don't tell me she
Right?
was a cross-dresser too.
No, she was not a crossdresser. I'm feeling this rubbing on my leg, right? I'm sitting on a stool at the bar. I look next to me. There's this just this random dude had taken his shoe off and had snaked his leg under my bar stool and was rubbing his socked foot on my leg.
Wow.
While a woman was up singing in drag. I'm like, dude, and he's like gives me the smile with the the nod, like, yeah. And I'm like,
Is that a sock job?
I'm like, we're totally cool, but I'm not into that. And he's like, okay, man.
Sock job.
So then I finished a couple beers and we left. But yeah, dude, who takes their shoe off and gives a sock job to a total stranger?
Sock job. Oh, I don't know why that's so funny to me. Dirty foot.
He didn't look dirty. Looked like a fine
No,
young
but
gentleman.
you're walking around with shoe on. You take it out, your sock.
That's a bold move.
Oh, he was.
I mean, I'm sure I'm not hanging out at those kind of clubs, so I'm not the target market. But even fresh out of the shower, my socks are probably good for about a half an hour of freshness inside of inside of any sort of footwear. Before I'm not going to take them out and rub them on anyone, let alone be like, "Hey, sailor, what's going on there?"
Yep.
Well, I'm sure it's like kind of marking territory there.
Oh yeah, he's putting his scent.
I mean, he had a 50-50 shot, right?
Yeah, he was hoping for some foot pheromones. To
I'm
get
like
up in here.
I'm mid-20s, hair down to my waist. I mean, he probably thought it was an easy score.
Like, I got this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, damn it, Carl, mark this one.
Yeah.
Well, I played at a, I guess, cross-dressing club. I played a guitar, just acoustic. I didn't know it was, but my girlfriend at the time, we went there. She was setting me up with different gigs around LA. This was one place, and we went. And I was sitting there and stuff, and there were people playing before I would go on, which with the acoustic, and play some like Jim Croce and just acoustic stuff, And I didn't know it was. I thought it was just a very dark bar, which it was. But boy, the women were very muscular, and I was in my mid-20s as well. So I had no idea. Then I saw this dude with long flailing hair, this black dude with long hair. He walks up to the stage and you see him rotating and I see his face, and dude, Adam's apple from here to eternity was, and I realized it was a great, we got drunk like nobody's business. We were drinking Jack Daniels and all that stuff. It was a pretty interesting night. I don't know if I would have gone, if I knew that it was that, because I just don't care much for it, but it was a good time, dude.
Did you get any phone numbers?
Yeah.
Did you call them?
No, dude. No socks.
No sock job?
See, I guess, Bales, you were more, it was a more receptive scenario with
I guess
no
I was putting out the vibe, apparently.
Yeah, he was hoping to make you a sock puppet.
Oh.
There's a few drag clubs in Key West as well. And they're
Just
funny.
a few.
Well, there's well, yeah. But they're funny as hell, They do it with lights, the whole 9 yards. But after a while, I'll just say this one thing. Like if you're going down Duval Street and there's all these parties going on, and it's a fun time because you're just out in the streets and people with drinks, and it's just rock and roll in this place, tattoos over here, just back to back. And so we went in to that because they were singing, and it was like a show. And it was okay for like 10, 15 minutes. Okay, you were watching, but after a while, I just get this icky feeling. It's just too much, dude. Too much of the confusion, and I had to freaking boogie from there. But they do tremendous shows. Have you ever been to a drag place?
No, nothing like that around me.
You've never been to a drag sort of like show and with the lights?
I went to something one time when I was attending a university that had like a drag queen was emceeing it. So I guess we're gonna call that. But this is like one drag queen amongst many non-drag, So
That's rough.
it was, and he, whatever, but very good, quite a performance, showman, but
Show woman.
show person,
Show non-binary.
show person. Anyway, but quite a performer. But that's as close as I've ever. I'm not opposed to it or anything of this, but it's just not something that really goes on around me, or I just don't. Maybe I don't put off the vibe. I've never had anyone making sock creatures.
Oh man.
Well, what were you? You know what? What were you wearing, Bales? Because you said you had long hair up to your waist. So
Down to my waist.
okay, because that was. So,
What, you think I grew out of my ankles?
it was the 1970s, and your bush was from here to eternity. What were you wearing, dude?
Probably jeans, Doc Martens, black t-shirt, probably a leather jacket,
Lipstick.
lipstick, multiple earrings, long hair.
I'm turned on.
I was with a chick. I was with a blonde chick.
Chicks go out with each other all the time.
Well, yeah, maybe.
What color was your purse to match your Doc Martens?
It was a clutch.
Oh, that's very sensible of you. Went out on the town.
Yeah. It was
I
blonde.
guess you know what? Sometimes that he was just completely, taken by you and wanted to rub his.
Hey man, it's called fishing, not catching. He was taking a shot.
Yeah, you can't blame
the dude.
Yeah,
Can't blame the dude.
just by your location.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were all offended, he would have been like, "Dude, did you read the sign?"
Yeah, you know where the hell you are.
Yeah.
Well,
What's
hombre?
up, bud?
You're
What's
in
up,
my
hombre?
world, puppet.
Yeah.
So how's the drag queen scene in Colorado?
I have no idea.
Oh, come on.
He retired a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's been a little less for the wear since I've quit the game, but you know,
Not being that trailblazer I used to be.
yeah, being that I dropped the mic, I dropped my high heels.
Damn it.
Man, that Ninja
that's a wrap.
Turtle mask is just distracting the hell out of me.
What? Oh, I'll move it.
Oh no. I just end up looking at it while you're talking.
Sorry.
So I've been watching this new show on Netflix, and by watching, I mean I've already binge watched and finished the 3 seasons that are available.
How
And-
long did it take you to do that?
Like, I don't know, 3 days.
So
I get home at 4.
and you just mainline it.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
But it's called Meat Eater, and it's about hunting.
Okay.
What kind of
he does a lot of hunting in Alaska. So it's a lot of some
I know.
moose, elk, deer, some bear,
funny.
birds.
you bring that up because I have his book right here. Some of
Yeah,
the-
yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
That
This is a great book. I'm giving it to you.
Are you
Are you?
kidding me?
Did that just happen?
Are they
That's
trying
all
to
just
sell me
happened.
on this? Eloy, I think these guys are trying to take us.
Did you just set that up? You guys are so full of crap.
No, because I heard him on Rogan, and it was
Yeah.
a pretty good interview, and I found out his book, and we do a lot of wild game hunting and fishing and stuff, and I was like, this will be great because my dad, he likes to experiment. He has like some elk steak, and he like used some shrimp spice. Oh, it tasted so bad. I'm like, why did you fuck up this elk? Oh, I thought it'd be fun. So, anyways, yeah, I'm sorry. So you're watching the new show.
Did he like
No,
it?
so that's cool because I watch the show and I like the show. I've never personally hunted,
Never
and I
killed
haven't eaten a lot of wild game. I like duck, and I've had deer, but I'm intrigued. But I watch the show, and in the show they kill animals, and they got them. And,
Put their blood on their face.
no, they don't do that, but they cut them up in the field.
Yep.
So I always find myself for that a little part of me is remorseful, like I feel bad for the animal, and then
it's for sure.
yeah, but then I'm like, I eat meat, so I should be prepared.
Totally.
Yeah, Bales, there's this perfect moment when you're field dressing an animal where it goes from being an animal to being in groceries.
Yeah.
And it's just this weird spot where you're like, okay, now we're eating.
So they always show them come up on the animal, and they're like, some of them are on the edge of tears, like looking at the animal, like it's such a beautiful creature, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden they just switch gears and are like, okay, well let's cut it up.
Yeah, let's chop her up.
Can't waste it if you dawdle, you waste
Right.
the animal and then you
So,
cook it in vain.
Rory, you've gone out on hunts like that?
Oh yeah. So my dad, I grew up with horses, and our hunts
You're
were
not
like,
supposed to hunt the horses.
oh no, we rode them, we packed them out, and we rode them about 10 to 15 miles into the wilderness and set up camp, and we're hunting deer and elk, and yeah, but it was more extreme than what I have seen other, like the guided hunts or just people who are hunting.
So
From
were
their
you
truck to the
were you
high-powered.
sitting in a blind waiting, or were you tracking like that Steve guy does?
Yeah, we were tracking. We were watching clear outs where they had cut timber, and open fields and whatnot, and
Right.
really it's kind of just a real slow walk with a gun.
Right.
I just, when Bales said that, it confirmed, because for a while I wasn't sure. Bales is definitely not a psychopath, because he feels remorse for the little creature, but he understands that it must be slaughtered for for substance. So you are officially now, because I was worried for a little while with your
Yeah.
commentaries, and now that can officially, you wish no ill to the little birdies and creatures, but you'll hog them down at your local freaking burger and
Oh, good with ranch.
yeah.
You taste good deep fried with hot sauce and
No, I'm
ranch?
sitting there
Yeah.
watching the show and I'm getting all kind of dusty eyed, but I know that it's a huge contradiction because go to the grocery store and I'll buy a slab of meat.
Well, the other reason that those people are in tears is because you get like buck fever. Like you're sitting there and Like when you're hunting, it's such a rare, even like the best hunters, it's very rare to be able to like get, what you're hunting. So when said deer comes into frame and you're getting close and you can actually shoot it, your heart's usually beating out of your chest, and it takes, you get a lot of all the chemicals going to your brain and through your, through your system like that, your adrenaline.
I can understand.
Right, exactly. You don't know what to do.
Chewing on sticks. No.
Yeah, you can shoot. Yeah, exactly. It's to get lockjaw.
I can
For
I
no
can
reason. You get like just lockjaw because you've been biting down so hard. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I just wanted to say because I can understand being weary of that, of wanting to hurt an animal, especially if you're from the city where you buy it at the grocery store pre-made and this and that. But ethically, you're basically right in there with the hunters. You're just not doing the dirty work. You're just passing along the buck to purchase the thing. So I can understand that one, but I'm sure that if, like, I live in Miami, there's hunters just 12 miles down the road, but who wants to be in the Everglades with mosquitoes everywhere hunting wild boar? I don't, frankly. They hunt over. But if in a pinch, if we needed to, because society crumbled, there was some sort of zombie apocalypse or whatever, we would all pretty much slaughter left and right like the barbarians that we are inside our DNA. I totally know that for a fact. There's no way that we would just cower in the side and wilt away.
Don't get me wrong. I'm no stranger to death. My uncle had the pig farm and my grandfather had the beef farm, but they're raised to be slaughtered. Was totally different than hunting them down in their natural environment and just picking them off.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
so anyway, I binged that guy's 3 seasons.
Back to the story.
Moose, wild boars, elk. He ends up in Guyana? Guyana? Maybe. He ends up in the jungles with a tribe, and they're bow hunters, and they shoot a primate. So they clean the primate, they burn off the hair, and they're roasting it. And he's going through this. He's going through the steps in his brain of whether or not he's going to do this, and he's like, I don't think I can do it because a primate looks too much like
people
like me. I can't do it. He ends up eating the primate, but he said it was a very large obstacle.
By the way, that's how you cook things over a slow fire.
I mean, people things,
everything.
Oh, bummer. I was hoping there was like a primate recipe in this, and there's not.
Did you guys ever watch Faces of Death, where, like, back in the day, the VHS tape was horrible, and they would take little mallets and whack the monkey, and they'd eat the... Did you guys ever see that video?
No.
I remember a friend loaned it to me, and I watched about 10 minutes, and then I stopped.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
But did you ever get to see the monkey scene?
No.
Dude, it is... And this is actually because what they did, there was this videotape called...
You couldn't watch it, so I'm going to describe it to you now in great detail.
Well, I watched it, but
I watched it. You will not suffer my consequences.
It was called Faces of Death, and they had like a volume 1 and volume 2, and this was like one of those 80s. Actually, now thinking about it, this is one of those iconic 80s things, but it was the most horrific. They had one guy, dude, they had one guy that got run over by the rail tracks, and he was pinned, still alive between the thing, and as soon as they moved the cart, it's just horrible. But in this one, there's actual people in these weird places that will sit with a monkey in a little cage, and they'll tap. Well, tap is a gentle word, until the cranium is exposed, and eat the freaking... It's horrible, dude. So yeah, that I can't. That is too much. But I did see it back in the day. Compare that to that. So I understand animals and being weary of, because animals, you can see the reflection of life, and there's something going on there that looks back at. I mean, it's just a thing. And we have to have nutrients, and so what are you going to do? But what I don't understand is like tree huggers. That I don't understand. Like, I don't know if you've seen the videos where they sit and like they'll chain themselves, and like they'll do like rituals and cry for the trees and whatnot.
You don't want to save some of the old growth trees?
Yeah, but I don't want to sit there crying because they think that there's people that think that the trees, that they should not be chopped. I get the old growth tree situation. Yeah.
Well, we're all made of the same stuff, right? So that could be your
You're
ancestor in
such a
that tree.
tree hugger, freaking, huh?
Maybe that's your ancestor in that tree.
How much wood have you freaking ripped on your saw, Bales?
They were all Escagedo ancestry, not mine.
I look at it like this: a tree is a crop, and if you don't use the timber, you spoil the crop. It would be like having corn planted and just letting the corn die and not consuming it, or growing tomatoes and not eating them and just letting it die. So if a tree falls, I mean, granted, there are other things that can use it, like, things that eat it and termites and whatnot, and things can burrow in it when it's on the ground. But I think that you should use it.
But I do think that everything does have an essence of life and some sort of energy and so like I'll look at a tree and I won't just look tree with nothing. Like I'll look at it and I'll actually it'll have an essence to it. At least that's how I see the world. I don't know if it's just it is. It has an essence to it. So I understand, that it has some interest. It's part of the universe, like Bales was saying. But still, I don't understand the crying. I just that part I don't, because we need to frickin' build homes and do what we do.
Here's another good one I heard about firewood. Is that a fire is releasing the energy stored in a tree from the sun?
That a fire is releasing the energy stored from the sun.
Yeah. That's deep stuff right there, man.
Yeah. So I guess coal is just old sun energy.
Correct. Get that. We need to mine that.
Get that old sun.
That's right.
Well, I did see the other day that they're planning, or they sent out a satellite to go and take as close information of the sun as possible. And they built this heat shield, and it's going to come as close as it can before it burns out. And it should be there in like 20, 30 years. The dude that designed it is still alive, but he's like in his 90s. And they launched that thing out towards the sun. So they can... What's that?
When did they launch it?
Damn it. Let me see.
Yeah, I heard about that.
You're going to make me look.
Is it going to get there when I'm alive?
Dude, you're so concerned with your life and death lately. Just, damn, Bales.
You're bringing this up. Am I going to get to see it?
Yeah,
it's just useless information.
Like 6 years to get to Mars.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now. Sun satellite, NASA's Parker solar probe is headed to the sun. So what next?
We wait.
Yeah.
How fast would we be on one of those planets if we found oil?
Like yesterday.
Yeah.
Through the Stargate that's buried under the pyramid.
On September 28th, the spacecraft will need to pull off a careful maneuver designed to gently slow it down to begin a calculated dance around the sun. So it looks like soon. Yeah, you'll be around.
That's some pretty flowery language right there.
That's what they said. So yeah, they're going to take all sorts of data from that and figure out what the heck's going on. 10, 20 years, whenever the spacecraft runs out of fuel, it will break apart.
It won't burn up?
I would assume it would. It says it'll break apart. I guess that's a fancy way of saying it'll decompose. I don't know.
And why are they looking at the sun?
Dude, I'd have to read the whole article, but I saw,
I believe a lot of it is studying our sun to help interpret other stars that we see.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm on a Wikipedia page trying to find the date.
I have a hard time with these long-term projects.
I know.
We're going to do something that in 30 years 30 years, everyone could have forgotten about that. 30 years, it could not be important.
Like, oh yeah. Yeah, mission duration 6 years, 321 days. So 7 years. We'll be around.
I'll still be around.
Yeah. You'll be at Egypt back, no problem.
You'll be a
right.
world traveler. Stamp on the passport at that point.
I could be dead in 6 months. You're right.
Now, how do we get that stuff from the warden? Did we get that in writing that we're allowed to just show up?
She'll be with me in Egypt, so we'll both be dead.
Oh, then I'm just gonna. I'm close. I'll send. Yeah, all right. Me and Haru just jimmy the door open.
I'll carve the door combination into a tree in the backyard.
Oh, this is awesome!
Like the Curse of Oak Island, and you can just follow the clues.
Bales is gold.
Yeah.
Starts in Egypt, like national treasure.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that'd be so much fun. The search for Bales is gold.
It's at his house this whole time. We know it. We just are traveling.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, I wonder where it is. But like, dude, it's in his. He said it was right underneath.
I want to find the next clue.
No, shut up, man.
We're so close. Where's that turtle head?
Eloy, it says
head.
you have to sniff all these pairs of underwear to find the next clue.
I'm on it, guys. Doc, here you go.
I'm supposed to give Doc something called a sock job. What's that again?
It's an SJ.
I regret telling that story.
I would.
I also saw this documentary, or not a documentary. It was an interview. There's a great channel. I can't even name it. It's a strange. But the dude interviewed one of the mafia guys from back in the day. He's still around, and he made freaking millions and millions of dollars with the oil sort of business. He got connected with a way of getting oil and selling it to gas stations, and he built a whole empire around that. And I was thinking with all these Italian mobsters and this and that, I was thinking of Doc while I was watching I was thinking, I wonder if Doc, because there's a lot of Pennsylvania connections as well.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking, well, does Doc have any stories related to that?
Not like, well, here's what I know. A lot of my relatives and the relatives of the people around me had relatives in New York City, in Philadelphia, that were supposedly, air quotes, connected or whatever. And there were people in town that were, somehow connected to somebody, or they knew somebody, or they were friends with somebody. Where I'm from, it was a lot of textiles, so there were always trucks going back and forth from the city to here. Who knows what was going on those trucks? I do remember when I was younger, every once in a while there would be a funeral, and there would be just a ton of New York City plates, or New York plates, New Jersey plates. So whoever had passed had some,
Connections with New York.
Connections with New York, and people, and it would always be the fancy cars would be there, the Cadillacs and the town cars and the whatnot. I have heard stories, and this is secondhand information. So, but I have heard stories that when you would go into church, my uncle, I think my uncle was the one that told me that he had to serve a funeral for somebody, altar boy style, and there was a guy sitting where there's never a person sitting, like in between the two doors in the back. Like it was like there was a foyer area about 10 feet. There was a guy actually sitting there with a newspaper on his lap.
Oh, that's like classic frickin'.
Right, exactly. Like, he's like, I can remember it plain as day. I could tell you what the guy was wearing. He's like, you could see the butt of the gun underneath the newspaper. Like, everybody knows this is not the place to screw around.
Wow.
It was just like the tone setter. Like, we're all going to behave while we're in this church in a tiny town in the middle of nowhere. You got it? Okay.
In the 1980s here in Miami, and there was no shortage of mob people coming from up north down here, and then there was the Cuban mob, which I'm sure still exists, and there was a Jewish mob, and over here was where all the drugs would come in, and the laundering of money, and the banks down here would work with South America. Just the crazy stuff, Not to mention all the bombings, car bombings left and right here in the 80s, especially from communists. It was just a war zone, literally a war zone. But me, in the context of, if you look at the newspapers, you'd think that to come here would be to get killed. But in the context of people living here, like in general, kids, you would not even, we didn't hear about those things. So I could see that maybe things were going on, because in the 80s in your area, I guess you're out more away from big city, but I'm sure there was a lot of stuff going on. You just weren't privy to it. But how about your folks and family? Is it something that these people would, even mention? Because like here, people would not mention, like Cubans would not mention, oh yeah, they blew up this guy. Radio hosts they'd blow them up, dude, their cars. They'd shoot them in parking lots in malls, just left and right. I don't know if would they talk? Would you hear from your parents and
No, they never talked about it.
Yeah,
A lot of the people that moved out this way did so to be away from that sort of life.
Yeah,
my great grandmother was like one of, I don't know, 7 kids, and I think 5 of them stayed in the city, and she moved out here because she didn't want, that.
Yeah. Because
again, secondhand information, talking about people I don't really know very well. So these could all be the too much wine in one of my uncles telling me stories as well. Yeah. But that
people want peace in general, no matter what. It's sort of hyper life when you see it in the news, because they condense all the bad stuff together. But yeah, I was watching that documentary. The guy was making bank, dude, and he was dropping cash in official, politicians and whatnot, and everybody was making money. So it's like, go for it, dude. And it's like they were. So it was a pretty amazing thing. But I did think, I wonder if Doc, in his area, because they talk about Philadelphia, they talk about Pennsylvania in general, as a freaking
the Poconos. The Poconos was big and all that, because that was like the original, that's one of the spots you could go from New York City, 2-hour car ride, be somewhere completely different. Look at the trees, look at the snow, so as much as people like would go to the Hamptons, be at the beach and see that, go to the Poconos. So there was always money in there, and anywhere there's money, there's crime,
Oh yeah, totally. How about your mob story, Bales?
I have no mob stories.
Oh, Boston mob.
Sock mob.
Damn it.
And how about in Colorado? What's the story? Is there any? I bet not, right? Mob activity, nothing like that.
Mob, like mobster, like other than what I experienced with the bike club.
Bike club sounds like a nightmare.
That's a mob. I can't believe you went, and I can't believe that Amanda went with you. I'll be like, it's a what now? It's a Hell's Angel party. We're just gonna go. It's chowder and jelly bean cook off. And
I can't believe you saved the entire lineup.
I can just.
This can't get worse. Oh, it did. Oh, this can't get worse now. Oh my God.
Like, yeah. I just would have been like, "Oh, I'm sorry. This ticket."
It took 45 minutes to get there.
I would have excused you if you would have said we stayed for the first act and she was pregnant, and then the second one got a little bit more. By the time the third, I would have excused up to the third. But usually, like a long list of like 15 acts, dude.
We had to write it out once we started it. Got to finish it.
Yeah, he couldn't get up in the middle of the performance. Get down in the front. I'm sorry.
This wasn't your first date, was it?
No, it was early on in our relationship, but not our first date.
Oh, man.
And memorable, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to hear Amanda tell the same story to see how they line up.
I could go get her.
Yeah, do it. We need to hear that right now.
Yeah, but you should have told him without him explaining anything. Just let her do it from like cold,
Well, I'm sorry. We're off the cuff. We're shooting from the hip here.
She's like, I'm not doing it.
There's no way I'm going on the scratchers. That's
No way. I'm not prepped.
We should probably not be doing that voice. That's kind of mean.
Yeah, I was thinking that, and you both went to that same voice.
I know.
That's just my default female voice.
See, you know what mine says. That's what I do to my wife when she talks. Sometimes.
Oh, like
It's awful.
like the Peanuts teacher.
Yeah.
Well, that is a no bueno. She says she is not webcam appropriate right now.
Oh, she doesn't have to do it.
You can't put her
camera
off
off.
screen and give her the
Yeah,
deep throat voice.
So we went to this club.
All right, let her know. Turn the damn camera.
Either way, it's okay.
Block the camera. This is an audio deal.
Yeah, this is actually a podcast.
Oh, we could give it. Yeah, I like the vocoder idea, Bales. So then we went into the Hells Angels party, and everyone was looking at Rory with the silhouette.
Yeah.
All right, she's on her way.
Oh,
It's like,
Yeah, you could always press the camera thing, enter, so she could do her storytelling, and it's a podcast anyhow, dude.
well, yeah, but she's just, you know.
Oh well, yeah, no, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Eloy hasn't been around a lot of women, so he doesn't really know how they are.
Yeah, if I see a woman, it would scare me, and I'd probably retreat into myself.
What?
Where's my sock?
Well, Bales is the one with the sock.
It wasn't my sock. He was wearing the sock. Damn it.
What color was the sock?
Brown.
Wait a second. Who was the one with the sock? You or the tranny?
The gentleman. No, he wasn't a tranny. He was just a gentleman at the bar.
And was it at the bar or was it back home in your apartment
It was
with
at
cocktails?
the bar.
Because I've never heard of a sock rubbing activity at a no. It was at your apartment
No, it wasn't.
around 3:00 at night playing bingo or something,
Bingo.
or parcheesi. I don't know what you do.
Parcheesi. I haven't heard Parcheesi in forever. We should play a game.
We were playing a drunken round of Scrabble.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here she comes. Okay.
This is the other alternate version of the story.
So when you talk right into that. The closer you are, the better.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi. How's it going, Amanda?
Hi, how are
This
you?
is Mrs. Dirty Smith.
Okay. Thank you for joining us this evening.
No problem.
We would like to hear from you the tale of the Hells Angels Burlesque show.
Okay.
From your end, from your perspective.
Gosh, it feels like eons ago. Rory had a friend. He was hired for Dragon Forge, I believe. And so we got these tickets. He was a member, and he invited us, and he told us that it was formal. Formal attire. So I dress really nice. I have this really nice white coat on. And Rory is dressed really nice, and I think he's wearing a dress shirt and a tie or something.
What?
And yeah, I thought you were wearing a tie. Whatever. He wore a tie in my version, and so
It was a forged tie.
Oh, that's
and so we get up to the location. It was called Rose something.
Was it the Grizzly Rose?
It was called the Grizzly Rose.
Well, anyways, it was in gold.
Yeah, anyways.
The Grizzly
Anyways. Okay, moving on. So we get there, we have our tickets, and we show up to the door, and we open up the door. Well, there's this guy with a leather coat on, leather everything, and he's huge, and he's looking at me and Rory. Rory's like handing him the tickets, almost like we're supposed to be here. We were invited. And so there's all these people down this bar on our right hand side, and everybody stops talking. And one by one, they all stopped to turn at us, and oh God, it was awful. We stood out. We didn't get the black leather and jeans memo. And so we walk past all them. We go through some double doors, and then we try to find your friend. We see other people did not get the memo because they were also dressed up. But for the majority, everybody was, they were okay. They were clean. Some were a little scary. And they had the leather. And then there was going to be this burlesque show. So I had never seen anything like that. It was very exciting. We sat down near other people who also were dressed up. And we watched these large women come out on the stage. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. I don't know. That was the first time, like in real life. And the lighting was absolutely horrible. It was hard. So every crevice, every imperfection was just exposed. I felt so awful for these women. But, they didn't seem to care. They came out with all this confidence and tassels and excitement. And they were beautiful, regardless of how it went. I thought they handled themselves really well. It was just jarring a little bit.
It sounds like a classy joint.
It was seriously classy. It was seedy. It was dark. It was badly lit. Another bar was in the other room, and it was intense. That was crazy. And it was neat to see all these people together, all these leather jackets and all this excitement, brotherhood. Thank you.
So were you in the headspace where you wanted to leave, but you were too scared to leave, or you just wanted to see the show conclude?
I wanted to. It's like, if you've already showed up, you already showed that you have tickets and you're supposed to be there, might as well finish the whole damn thing,
Yeah, buy the quarter. Yeah,
so
give the quarter, take the ride.
Yeah. So, we got drinks. I went up and got us some drinks, and an older man with leather on asked for my number.
Yeah.
Doing something right. And so I brought back the drinks. Rory got a kick out of that. And I went up to one of the dancers, and that was my first time doing anything like that. And I actually gave her some cash just to show my appreciation. Yeah, it was a good evening. We were really happy though when it ended, and then we just left. So we had that experience. We got to see Rory's friend, I'm forgetting his name now, and meet his clan, and oh gosh. So that was fun, and I think sometimes sticking out in the wrong place can be okay.
Is it true that a guy next to you rubbed his socked foot on Rory's leg?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
No, that was actually Bales' situation. He took his shoes off at a bar. He was telling us earlier, and he started rubbing this.
No,
this
you
guy.
flipped the script.
No, let me tell the story. Look, I'm going to tell the story, and you can correct any inconsistencies.
I just didn't want to be alone. I was hoping it happened to Rory too.
Well, there was sock rubbing,
I was a little concerned Rory might be scarred and didn't tell me.
Socked.
I can't get over how similar the details of your stories were. You guys both hit very similar points.
Oh.
Rory doesn't add fluff.
No, that was, there was a couple key moments. You both described the guy taking the tickets the same. You both
the
described
tie.
everybody looking at you. Yeah, Amanda added that it was formal.
Yeah.
Well, she wanted her man to look good. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Rory just put it out there that she remembers you very dapper, and you should take that. You should be like, yes, I was wearing a tuxedo, and I was dressed very nicely. Amanda, you're aces, by the way.
Thank you.
On the podcast. How about that coming out of nowhere? Storytelling. Great.
Well, thank you. I am a creative, so we're two creatives that married, so we're very creative. Sorry.
Yeah, I can tell by how creative your language is. You just use creative 5 times in the same sentence.
Well, we're not English majors.
Apparently.
Miners.
Those guys suck.
Yeah, we're creatives. Creatives are great.
We create things with creativeness.
Yeah.
Creatively.
Want to see my creative degree
Yeah.
in creativity?
All right. I'm going to
All
say
right.
goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a fabulous evening.
We're going to do our best.
Scratch.